starting off the vlog on a positive note. Before I kind of tell you why I'm in slightly good spirits, I need to explain Artist Life Podcast if you don't already know what it is. If you do, it'll just be a short thing. So it was a podcast that I started with Laura Lee back in the summer, so like 5-6 months ago or so. And we just talked about art stuff, just talked about different topics. We did it like once a week, where we tried to once a week. Sometimes we interviewed each other on certain things and had like fun questionnaire stuff we did. Other times we just picked a topic like graffiti and like how do we define that and what does it mean and what context is it important or not important or is it even art or all that kind of stuff. So that was real good, but then things didn't really work out, and I started doing the podcast alone. So I've done 2 like legit episodes of it alone now, and I had someone send me a voicemail, so I didn't even know that was a thing. I use Anchor.fm as like my host for my RSS feed, which basically, how do I describe this really simply? It creates an RSS feed that can be picked up by any podcast app. So it was like if you had a radio and this just created the frequency, and with your radio you can just turn the dial to that frequency. That's the same kind of concept. So anyway, I guess with this platform that I use called Anchor, you can receive voicemails. I just didn't know it was a thing, and then I got an email saying, "Hey, Heather left you a voicemail," and I was like, "What is this?" It was like some weird like advertisement, fake, spammy type thing, but it was not. It was actually someone else who has a podcast called Calligraphy Consultant. So, and I've checked it out a little bit. And I don't know, the voicemail was just really encouraging and positive, and said that she listened to the most recent podcast, which I talked about artist legacies and stuff. She even gave me like some input on why she thought maybe contemporary artists don't have as much of a legacy as they did before. And I'm going to talk about that in my next Artist Life podcast. But it actually got me thinking about like, oh man, like someone's actually interacting for the first time. And maybe I should start asking more, because I stopped a long time ago with either my, the vlogging and stuff on my personal channel or whatever. I stopped asking for feedback a long time ago because I never get any. But I'm thinking about just using my Instagram, using the Facebook, just my social media and stuff, or through the YouTube channel to get questions and answer those things. So the Artist Life podcast is still going. I'm enjoying doing it alone, but I'm thinking about adding some extra segments. Something at the very beginning maybe called Quick Thoughts, where I could wrap up some issue or some things in my mind about what happened last week if I have more thoughts, because now that I had this response based on the podcast last week, it kind of makes me, because it was kind of it's in a way an exchange. I put something out there, she gave me something back, and now I feel like, oh man, like that actually gets me thinking more about things. So I can have a little thing there called like quick thoughts, do the main thing of the podcast, the main topic, and then at the end, I would love to answer questions. So if you have questions for me, for the Artist Life podcast, pertaining to art things, then I would be glad to hear them. So you can, you can email, you can use the Facebook page, the Instagram, the YouTube, whatever. But in saying that too, so I guess the other thing I'll just mention again, Calligraphy Consultant, she has this podcast there. It's not all about calligraphy. She's an art historian. She talks about like cool stuff. There was one that was like the importance of handwritten journals, talking about like certain. I think there was a thing on like Rembrandt and like stereo blindness or something. Like I checked out. She's done 9 episodes in like less than a month. So I don't know. It's kind of cool, and there's definitely some good content on there. And she was just so like, I don't know. It was really just encouraging to get some feedback from a complete stranger. I think she lives in Maine, in the States. So that was really nice. And in saying that, it does make me want to do things differently with my own personal podcast the YouTube channel, because I really just take the audio from things like conversations and reviews and behind the curtains and stuff like that. I just take the audio and put it into a podcast, which if you don't know what that is, it is Artist Personal Journalist. So you can look that up on whatever device or app you use for podcasts, and it's because I had people in my life that were saying, hey, I really enjoy actually listening to these conversations, but I can't have YouTube open for an hour. That's really annoying, and I can't actually listen to them. So I just convert the audio into MP3, put it in the podcast, and that's where that stuff is. So I don't put vlogs or biking videos or art process videos in there. That'd be pointless. because it's just an auditory thing. So yeah, conversations are there, and I have uploaded all the old ones and stuff. That's been around for months now. So you can always check things out there. But it got me thinking about different ways to do the vlogging and conversations and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just felt really good about that. So I just wanted to share it. This chair is busted, y'all. I mean, it's lopsided. It's been this way for a bit. I fell out of the chair. I don't even know when, a couple months ago, because it just busted. So I've been using it anyway, because it's the only computer chair I have, and I have not invested in a new one. I've had this one for so long, a ridiculously long time. You can see the padding is long, worn out there. That's why I have the pillow. But it is just hurting my back way too much. I did a lot of photoshopping today for some necklaces and jewelry that I've been putting on my Facebook page. But yeah, it just like is so lopsided it really hurts. Yo. So I started making these what I call paint tube necklaces maybe 6 months ago. I just made one for me. I made one for a friend. And then I made one for someone that I went to art school with and sent it to Saskatchewan. I just found that I was making these spray paint tip necklaces, and I was like, oh, this paint tube is like super nice. I really like it. Maybe I'll make a paint tube necklace for myself. And then some other artists really liked the idea. So, yeah, I haven't posted them for sale. I only made like those 3, and then never made any again, and then haven't posted them for sale up until last night. So I really quickly, honestly, they are quicker to make than the spray paint tip necklaces. They're much quicker. So I made 6 of them the other day, and then I had my girlfriend kind of like photograph them, and then I posted them yesterday. And for the first time, so then today I posted them. Sorry, yesterday I posted them to my page. Today I posted them to buy and sell pages. It's like $15 for each necklace, and I have never. I don't know. Suffice to say that apparently they're really funny. I've never had angry reacts on anything I've posted for sale, which is usually art related or the jewelry stuff. Like I posted the spray paint tip necklaces once or twice. Never got any interest in them, but you know, it was fine. Like there was nothing weird. There was no like weird reactions to it. And then I'm having tons of people, the majority, I've had more reactions on this post than I have for any fine art piece or anything, things that even sold. Like there's somewhere there was a little bit of interest in them, but like this has more reactions to it than ever, and I think 90% of them are laughing emojis. And I was like, I don't get it. And someone had a comment that was seriously with like a facepalm emoji, and I was like, what? I didn't engage. But I was like, I don't get it. Like, honestly, it annoys me that I'm bothered by it. Because, like, I understand the logic of... Because my immediate thing is like, well, if you don't like it, then don't comment on it. Like, I don't think there's anything there to comment on. And it's not just because, hey, you don't like it, you have nothing nice to say, just be quiet. I mean, like, there's... What social commentary or what kind of comment could you add? Well, you just don't think that anyone would buy them. Or you think, like, why would you even make these? I don't know. I made them, and some people like them. And I was trying to reach more people and see if maybe other local artists or people that know other artists or whatever might like them. So I don't know. There's always a reason to comment on something, and I'm all for that because I do it all the time. I don't know. I just didn't think... this thing, I'm annoyed by the fact that I'm annoyed. Because, I don't know. But yeah, so many people have like laughing emojis, and then... someone else said something too, and I don't remember what it was, but it was along the lines of just like some sarcasm thing of being like, why would you even make these? Yeah, so I don't know, but I'm making them anyway. I've got the paint tubes, I've got chain and the tools to make them, and I know that some people will like them, so that's just a thing. But anyway, I am selling those now because I have the spray paint tip necklaces, a bunch of them. I'm not going to make any new ones for a while. I mean, like, I have all these that are clogged, and they are ready to be made into necklaces. But I've got so many necklaces right now that haven't sold. I haven't gotten them on Etsy yet. I'm hoping once I get them on Etsy that people will stumble upon them, and then maybe it'll gain some traction, it'll be a thing. If we were in a bigger city, I would love to have them, like the spray paint tip necklaces. If I was in Saskatoon, I would probably approach like Undergrind and like maybe some tattoo shops. Definitely places wherever they sell like graffiti grade spray paint, like Undergrind, or maybe, I don't think Art Placement would take them, but they sell Montana Paint. I think that is where the audience would be, with other people who have used that paint, which is mostly, in my world, like people who wrote graffiti. And the paint, like, tube necklaces, I think, are way more versatile because there's way more people that I think use golden acrylics and like that, or would represent themselves as artists. I think there's a community there for it. Obviously, it's not the people that are commenting and making laughing emojis, but whatever. Anyway, like I said, I'm annoyed that I'm annoyed. I don't want to be annoyed by it. I am, and I'm annoyed by that, so cool. The one thing I love about working in that direction, whether it be Colehurst or Picture Butte or what have you, I just love driving back into town this way. It's always pretty. It's always beautiful. Just like seeing the coulee, seeing the train bridge, you know, a little bit of just, I don't know. Obviously, it makes me miss biking too. At least, yeah, because we got the coulees in there, and there's a bunch of spots up ahead where there's trails that I bike, or that I was biking. Anyway, yeah, it's not a great, like, sunny, beautiful, amazing day for a winter day. It's just a very, I don't know what to call it, winter day, but it's still nice. I like it. Cool story, John. Okay, see you next time. I've been riding with low tires for I don't know how long. I assumed, incorrectly of course, that when I take it into my dealership and they do a bunch of stuff, that they also, well, I mean, they've told me, like, oh yeah, we filled the tires to where they're supposed to be. I just looked up the kind of factory requirements along with the tires I'm rocking and everything else. No, not the case. I've been riding like almost 10 psi too low, which is crazy. And it's not just because of winter. So as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by that call for work that, yeah, I realized, I haven't checked my PSI in a while. I should probably do that. It's been winter for some months. And also because of how much driving I'm doing between Coaldale and Lethbridge and stuff, they're just like, I want the correct tire pressure so I'm getting the most mileage too. And like I said, I'm like 10 PSI too low. I checked online for my vehicle and model. I checked in the manual for like everything. And it says it's like high 20s to low 30s. And I was down at like just 20. Like for all four tires. I know that my tires are all kind of cracked. The tread apparently on them is like great. It's like 7 out of 10 like at the low end and 8 out of 10 on the high end for some of them. But they're like all a little bit cracked. When I looked at it, it didn't look too bad. I'm hoping, that's the thing, I'm assuming if they're cracked a little, I should probably have my tire pressure a little lower. If my tire pressure is a little higher, I'm assuming, you know, obviously it's expanding and therefore more prone to bursting in these cracks or whatever. I guess that's the chance I have to take because I don't want them too low and then getting horrible mileage. And yeah, I mean, the other thing is, and I know from biking, is that I get more traction when my tires are a lower pressure. You know, and it just, they're technically wider, so they are gripping a little more. I don't know how much that really plays a role when it comes to this and the PSI difference. Anyway, that's my story about that. I just hope, now I'm all paranoid again about blowing a tire. It has, I mean, if it gets really cold, and this week it's supposed to drop like pretty cold, then I'll lose pressure, so they shouldn't crack. But then again, once I start rolling, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. All right. I'm finally making my first art process video in months and months and months. I worked on portraits for an exhibition for such a long time. I didn't make process videos. I also felt like I haven't had time to edit many videos. This week is a big week because I've got a conversation, I've got a review, I'm going to have an art process video. I just don't know when I'm going to be able to edit all this junk. And I'm going to have a vlog. So I'm going from like 2 videos in a week to 4 for this week anyway. It's not going to be that way all the time because it depends on how much art I can get in here to do and how much of that art is applicable to making an art process video. This one's going to be a little different because I'm going to be painting over a piece, and I don't think I've done that in an art process video before. Anyway, yeah, I'm here. I really am anxious to get something done. I feel like if I don't know. It's about that time where I probably should have left already. I don't want to go to bed late. I'm probably going to go to bed still a little bit late, but it'll be better than the other days, the past 3 days on school nights that I've gotten to bed. Anyway, I just really want to do this, and yeah, I just haven't painted anything in a bit too. The days that I've come to the studio, I've made some necklaces. I've kind of like organized things, cleaned things, just kind of like been in the space and enjoyed the space. But I haven't actually done any artwork in here for weeks. So January, what are we at? 7th, I believe today. We're on the 8th. Let me double check. January 8th today, and it's the first piece of the year, 2020. Let's get it done. Look for that video if you want. Whatever. First winter ride of the season. First ride of 2020. I haven't ridden my bike for 3.5 months. I'm just going to Henderson Lake and back. There's hardly any wind today. I happen to be available right now. I'm happy to get on my bike. I need to build back my my riding ability so that I can actually go hit trails and ride back up to the city, because right now I think I'd die. 3.5 months of no riding, period, and then trying to ride back up to the city from going down a coulee trail, not happening today. Especially with it being a little colder. It's minus 15, wind's only at 7, so I'm just going to take a quick ride around Henderson Lake, and I got a couple new things too. Well, not a couple. I'm going to try this thing out because I got that before Christmas, so we'll see how that works out for me. So, just got out of the bath. The GoPro died on the way back, so I'm recording this now. I'm putting a picture in here of my face when I got home. It was only like minus 15, like I mentioned. Man, my legs were just red. I've never had a sunburn in my life, but that's what I assume it would feel like. Just from windburn. It said it was only 7 degrees, or not, sorry, 7 degrees, 7 kilometers an hour winds. I barely felt any wind. But I'm definitely going to need some long johns next time. But one thing I wanted to do during this ride was use this for the first time. So, I mean, this was strapped on. And it's really useful, actually. So, I mean, I've had this guy back here for a while. But I always get paranoid that it's going to fall off, even though it never has, even though I've, like, taken a couple spills with it. But, one, if I want to get some multi-tools, which I definitely do, or hold a tube or something, like, this definitely makes the bike look more cumbersome and weird and not as sleek and pretty. However, it is really useful right now since I'm subbing, because I can put my phone here and I can hear and or see it light up, so that way if I'm riding and I can stop to answer the call, then that would be great, so I can get work. So that's really useful, and on days like today, I didn't have my iPod because I forgot it, and so I just had my phone playing music, and I wasn't able to hear much of it, but enough that I know I would be able to hear a phone call if I got one and see my phone light up. And I could hear the music a little bit, just depending on how loud the area was. So that worked out really well. In the future, I won't be using that, I don't think, unless I'm on like a very casual ride. But if I'm going on a trail, I probably will invest in getting like multi-tools like inserted into there and threaded and stuff. Like, yeah, and some creative ways that I've seen to have multi-tools and other things that I may need on the bike without having a bunch of luggage basically attached to it. I mean, this thing's so bulky now that I'm looking at it, but it was very useful, and yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was that. So I think, I think that's the vlog for this week. Just gonna wrap that up. There's a bunch of videos this week. There is a conversation about expectations and why you shouldn't have them, but it's impossible to not have them, and why that sucks. There's a review continuing the series of top 10 albums that changed my life. I review Sage Francis's Human the Death Dance, which is, yeah, the 8th one in that installment of 10, and it's just an amazing album, and I love it. So you can listen to or watch the video for that. I also have an art process video, so I haven't edited that, but that'll be going up, and then of course the vlog. So yeah, first piece I painted in 2020, and it was definitely a different piece because I was painting over someone else's piece. So I kind of started with that, and then, yeah, you'll see it if you want to. Anyway, so 4 videos up this week rather than the usual 2 I've been doing the past couple months, which, yeah, a lot of recording, a lot of editing, but I had some time to do it, so good. Anyway, that's it for me. We'll see you on another time.